Welcome to DentonRadio.com, powered in part by Classic of Denton.
Good evening, Denton. I'm Ellie, and you are here with me on the Denton Vibe with Diva Girl Ellie. And I'm so happy today. We've got a lot to talk about here on the Denton Vibe with our guest today, Aurora Cabrera. And just to let you know, the Denton Vibe is all about arts, all kinds of arts, poetry writing, and a sprinkle of music. So join us for our shows Mondays at 8 to 8:30. But today we have Aurora Cabrera on our show today. So thank you, Aurora, for being here with us today. I'm so excited to be able to talk about your art and your work that you do, and then also just everything we want to know about you here in Denton. And thank you for sharing your time with us today.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Ali.
Oh, not a problem.
Thank you. I'm really excited.
Well, we're excited to have you here. So we have so much to talk about. I know the more we talked, the more I was like, oh, we need to talk about that. We need to talk about that. So we're going to talk about all the stuff that we discussed already, but we have a few items that were unplanned that I think would add into the.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and get into this. And I want to talk about who you are as an artist, who you are as a person. Let's get to know Aurora. Let's get to know who you are as a Dentonite too. So Aurora, tell us a little bit about yourself as a person in your personal life.
Well, I was born and raised in Oaxaca, Mexico, 52 years ago. And back in when I was probably was around 89, I met this Denton guy. And this Denton guy was traveling in Mexico.
Oh,
He
wow.
was trying to learn Spanish. He had a great job working at Texas Instrument, and he comes from a family of 6. And when he decided to quit his job, sell his house and everything he owned and travel,
Wow.
his mom was really worried.
Oh.
She's like, what are you going to do? And he's like, well, I want to travel, learn Spanish, go places,
Live life.
live life. And so in 89, during the spring of 89, we met. He was renting a little room in the back of my parents' house.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't living there.
Mm-hmm.
I was living in a town just north of it, and I was attending college, getting a degree in computer science.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a software engineer.
Okay.
So once we start talking and we have so many things in common, one thing led to the next one. And by 1990, I asked him to marry me.
Oh, wow. What a surprise. That's awesome. You do belong in Denton.
Yeah.
Wow.
He wasn't going to ask that, you know. And I said, listen, the Mexican way is this.
Yes.
And we
Completely
either
different.
do this way or we're not going to do it at all, because it's really hard to have a long-distance relationship.
Yes.
So we got married in Mexico. We opened up a small business called Solo Software. And he was doing mainly the software, but it wasn't his passion. He comes from a Texas Instrument that used to do all these navigation systems and really deep into coding.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just accounting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, you know what, we're working so hard and we can barely pay for all our expenses and the rent for the office. I think we should move back to the States.
Oh, wow. Did you come back to Denton?
He moved first to find a job,
Mm-hmm.
and then I will follow him in 92.
Okay, so how did that happen as far as your personal life in Mexico and then transitioning to Denton? What was going on while he's over here? What are you doing as a person, as an artist? What are you doing artistically over there?
Well, back then, you know, I was going to college for computer science, and I guess I always was surrounded by art.
Mm-hmm.
Mexican culture have that,
Yes.
and it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
My dad and my mom were both professionals. They both came from really poor families. My dad was in the Air Force, and until he crashed a plane, then he moved on to go to law school.
Oh, wow.
And then my mother was a nurse,
Mm-hmm.
and I come from a family of 6 too. So it was, they expect us to follow up a career.
Yes.
Art wasn't on the list.
It wasn't. So how did the seed get planted as far as loving art
Um,
in that type of environment? Because it is a very strict
oh
environment.
wow.
Mexican culture is very, strict by the book, and I'll put it out there just like my dad used to tell me,
Yeah.
no, no y no, and that's basically how it is.
Yeah.
So you were going against the
Um,
grain.
Yeah, but my dad got really sick. He got leukemia, and when I was taking care of him at home, I will go and sit down, and then I start painting furniture.
Oh wow.
And he was there just watching me. I mean, he was gone in 6 months, so this was part of the process. And I was sitting there painting, and he was like, "Well, I really enjoy what you are doing. Do you like it?" I'm like, "Yeah, this makes me really happy." And so I guess he was the first one to start on with, "Well, you should continue doing it. You
He
should
was one
take
of
some, start taking some classes, do something." Um, he passed away in 91, and then I moved to Denton in 92.
Wow. So he actually got to see you flourish or start to flourish
Start
as
to
an
do
artist.
this, start to do
And
this,
I'm
and
sure somehow that brought him comfort, just being able to see you
yeah,
be at peace and, happy, and be able to share that type of bond with your father in his last days.
yes,
That's
because
really
probably, but
amazing.
even as a lawyer, I consider him a really special person. He loved Oaxaca, and Oaxaca is one of the states with the highest indigenous populations in Mexico, along with Chiapas. So for many years, he had to be a judge in all these remote
Yes.
little towns.
Towns.
So he get to meet all these indigenous people and the way they were doing things, what they were eating, how they were hunting, all of these things. And he was really, really impressed for that. And I think that really changed the person that he was, appreciating and valuing more the work of all these people.
Yes. It was more
And
personal that way. So your dad being one of your biggest influences, I would imagine that coming back to Denton, your husband was a big influence as well, and Denton itself was a big influence,
oh,
I
wow.
think.
Yes,
Now,
back in
so when you're coming back to Denton, obviously leaving your family behind and then coming here to make your life with your husband, I'm pretty sure you brought art with you. Obviously, we have some of your art displayed. One of them just fell down, so I apologize about that. But so you brought your art with you, and you're here in Denton. And tell me about what your art was like here in Denton. How did it start to unravel and start to flourish?
Well, at that point, I was only painting the furniture. And we were renting a little apartment on Oak Street, few blocks from the campus. So he was working from 8 o'clock until 7 o'clock. And he had to commute to Shady Shores. And we only have one car, and I didn't have a working permit, so I was stuck at home.
Oh, wow.
Going crazy.
Yes. So you had to figure something out.
So I started looking at all the different workshops UNT had to offer and things that we could afford. So there was a watercolor class by Joe Williams. And Joe Williams, until this date, she's continues giving workshops here in town. For many years, she's been my watercolor teacher forever. I think all what I have done on watercolors is thanks to her.
To her.
She has been such a strong model.
So she's been a big influence for you.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I've never tried watercolor. I'm pretty curious about that. So.
Oh, she's amazing. You should take a class with her.
I might have to do that. I'm going to sign up for everything that I have shows about, and I'm going to just overextend myself.
She's amazing. She's amazing. And I mean, a lot of people that I know through the Visual Arts Society of Texas, they all had been students of
really?
Joe Williams.
So that's awesome. Okay, so you got a taste of
So
UNT teacher.
I started painting. I started painting, and I started doing watercolors. And then for once in my life, I was in love with the medium because I consider myself a pretty control freak.
So you were not the typical Mexican girl where you were breaking the mold, because we were talking about you. We were previously talking about
Oh,
how you came over here, and you were just like, I never had the opportunity to do this because I wasn't in that environment. So
yes,
so
yes.
you were breaking
And
tradition.
I was, and I was just really lucky to land in Denton.
Yes.
And I think my husband has been always so supportive of whatever I do. And I think that's why we're still together after 27 years, because he respects who I am, how Mexican I am, how crazy I am, and I respect who he is.
Yes.
And we try to come up to the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
And it
sometimes
works.
yeah, it works. Sometimes it's harder than another, but
Yeah.
we
Sometimes
try
it
to get
works
there.
and sometimes it's work. So
Yeah,
depends on what day it is, right?
yeah.
So
And
I do want to talk about it could be more than one. Who are your biggest artistic influences? And right away when you brought your stuff, I love the style. It's very different, very unique, but obviously the box right here
yeah,
immediately caught my attention because she's one of my biggest favorite influences as an artist. When I see things,
yes.
when I do things, she's not far from my mind, not just artistically, but as a woman, as a Mexican woman. So Frida Kahlo is a very influential person, and you have actually seen the influence starting to permeate here in North
Yes,
America.
yes,
It
it's
wasn't
not
so
just
predominant up until recently, and people would, who is that? I see you wearing her shirt, or why did you mention that person? So let's talk about that. I know she was one of your influences, as well as maybe a few other people that you mentioned to me artistically.
well, we all Mexicans are mixes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know because of my color and my grandmother, I have a big Zapotec
Mm-hmm.
percentage in myself. But then I also have the other side. And Frida was a woman that was always struggling with those two sides, the Russian side and then the Mexican native indigenous side.
Mm-hmm.
And she was one of the first women that tried to always wear all the textiles and all the things that we do have in Mexico. And um,
Which is very beautiful.
is beautiful, and not many people appreciate that. But when you sit down and see somebody weaving, do a backstrap weaving, and you see the time that it takes to do
Yes.
that weaving,
And the
it's like,
embroidery,
wow.
all
I
of the
mean,
rich embroidery. Every time I see something, and you see stuff here, and a lot of time that beautiful authenticity is blown out of proportion as far as price. You go over there and they're selling it for pennies, and that's so, it's like, well, of course we're going to buy stuff over there, but it's like you don't understand the work that goes into this stuff. It really is heartfelt work. And so I love bringing back textiles. That's one of my biggest things. I absolutely love the colors. It obviously resonates with me because I am Mexican, and it's just a beauty. You bring it here, and now the funny part is I see it on the square. I see it in some of our shops now, and
Yeah.
I'm like, yes. And it's beautiful to see that there. It's beautiful to see our culture infused, and even more beautiful to see people starting to adapt the beauty of the art and the artisans. So I really love that, and I know Frida has been making I would say an introductory comeback here, because I think she's already been such an influential person, and I know she's one of your influences. I know you mentioned Leonora Carrington.
Yes. And well, she used to live in Mexico. She wasn't a Mexican, but I love surrealism.
Mm-hmm.
I like Dali's work,
Mm-hmm.
but I take any women on top of it. And I guess that's just my feminist side talking
Yeah.
about, because there's so many, in the art world, there's so many women
Yes.
that haven't been noticed or taken care of. And
There's no spotlight on them.
no, there's
Per
none.
se.
There's none. And, after seeing that exhibit in Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
Mexico exhibit in Dallas, and the work of Diego Rivera, and then I was reading an article about his Russian wife, and the amazing work she used to do. It's like, wow, why she was never mentioned? She was big part of who he is.
Yeah.
She was right behind him.
Yeah, that's true. You never know who someone is until you see who's around them. So,
Yeah.
that has a lot of influence in there. And you see that sometimes in their work and whatnot. So let's go ahead and talk about how your style obviously is mixed in with the culture. You cannot deny that. And if you guys can actually see some of her work behind us, it's beautifully detailed. We've got one behind her, and one of them fell on the floor, and I'm going to actually pick it up because it's so beautiful.
Here,
it's so
I
different. I apologize that it fell on the floor during the show. But this is
That's a collage.
this is a collage, and she's got it layered here with the aloe plants or the agave.
Agave plants.
Yeah, the agave plants. It's just beautiful. It's watercolor, and it's got layers, and each of the layers is watercolored as well. So there's depth to this. And then she's got. Tell me about this.
That's rice paper.
I was gonna ask you because I see the texture from the angle here.
And as a watercolorist, I have a lot of paintings that I start to recycle and use like for collage. So this was probably an old painting, and I use it
It's very
to come
beautiful.
up with the leaf shapes. And I also love using any type of rice paper, Japanese paper.
Well, it's very beautiful. Does it have a name? Let's put it
No, I think this is untitled.
Okay.
That one
let's
is
talk about that one.
bisnaga, and that's the name of the plant.
It's very pretty. It's
And,
very detailed. And that is
yeah.
watercolor as well?
That's watercolor as well. And for a period of time, I did a lot of very realistic plants. But then I always managed to put the Mexican designs in it because
I
I
see
wanted
it.
people to know there was a Mexican
It does.
behind.
I mean, definitely, if I saw this hanging in a restaurant and it had that border, immediately I would know it was, some sort of Mexican
Yeah,
influence.
if it was just the bisnaga, then anybody Southwest can
Yes.
paint a bisnaga.
Yes.
But this was different. So.
What about the painting behind you? And I don't mean to make you turn around completely, but if we can see that behind her, that is.
This one also has some of the Zapotec designs in the back. And that's a pochote tree that you will see flowering in Oaxaca all the time. So that was part of my series of trees I had painted.
Nice.
And they all have a frame and they all have a design in there.
Okay, so now that we're talking about your designs and the influences, and you bring up Oaxaca, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the fact that a lot of your artwork is hanging in Oaxaca right now.
Yeah.
And where is it hanging at? I want you to talk about this because it's really, it's something that I would be very proud of if it was me. So go ahead and tell us where your artwork's hanging.
Well, many years ago, back when my dad passed away, my mother started renting rooms for American students coming to Mexico to learn Spanish, like my husband. And little by little, the house changed and it became a bed and breakfast.
What is the name of that bed and breakfast?
Las bugambilias,
What is a
which is
bougainvillea?
the flower,
Yes.
is the vine.
Mm-hmm.
And they come in purple, white, reds, different colors.
Okay.
And the patio at the house has several bugambilias. And my mother loves gardening and her plants. And that's why she chose that name. And this business was a business of everybody's work.
Mm-hmm. The whole family was
The
in
whole
it.
family was in it, cleaning, cooking, doing something. And right now, my son had moved back to Oaxaca after graduating from UNT. And he's doing part of the social media,
Oh,
doing
nice.
photographs, driving some. My brother has a little tour business in town. And I do take care also of the social media for them. And,
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and plug in your social media for that because if you guys, I know a lot of times we love Denton, but we need a vacation sometimes. So you can go ahead and definitely, if you haven't ventured off into some of the more authentic cities in Mexico, you talk about a beautiful, beautiful town. Oaxaca is definitely worth looking into. Her bed and breakfast is called Las Bugambilias, and we can definitely check it out on Instagram. It's where the
Yes.
photos are beautiful. It's typical, authentic Mexican decor. It is beautiful, and it's a photographer's dream. I can already tell you that.
Yeah,
I've never
it
been.
is.
It's on my list. but we have tons of photographers, all kinds of artists. If you get a chance to do that, I would definitely check them out. They have several locations or a few
Yeah, they have
locations.
3 locations downtown.
And so your artwork is hanging in those in your home, basically.
Yeah, and my husband and myself, we run that place from 2003 to 2010. My kids grew up in Oaxaca, Mexico, 7 years. They were born, one here in Denton and one in Florida.
Okay.
But we moved there for 7 years, and this is what we were doing.
Okay.
Making up the B&B business.
That is a wonderful thing to do.
So it's very Oaxacan, but you will see some of Denton
Yes.
in there.
Well, you know what? You're
you
You
will
got some
see some of
visitors.
Denton in there. Yeah.
anyway, so let's go ahead and move it quickly to you guys. She's got a giveaway. So if we have any listeners or if we have any people that will make comments or whatnot, she actually has a cookbook. It's called Recipes from Pilar Cabrera, which is
My sister.
okay. So this is something that you both worked on together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what kind of recipes can you find in here? And this is just a beautiful book. I mean, thankfully she gave me my own copy. So I might have to start cooking. Oh no. No, actually I love to cook. So
Well, they are simple recipes. They are not that complicated.
and it's Casa de los Sabores.
Casa de los Sabores. She has a cooking school down in Oaxaca.
Oh wow. Okay.
And she has a
there's
restaurant down
something
in
to
Oaxaca.
do when
so
you're down there if you go
Yeah.
down there. That's awesome. Okay, so we have an actual giveaway. Like I said, she actually has one of her T-shirts here, and I want to go ahead and pull that out because this actually has one of her influential icons of something that she paints often, and that's her moon. Her moon is very dominant in her paintings.
Yes.
And you will find that in some of her more popular paintings, she'll have a moon in there, or she'll have the girl dancers or whatnot. And you can find her artwork at auroracabrera.com. So this is her T-shirt, and it's got Denton right on top.
Fort Worth and Dallas.
Fort
So
Worth
that
and
should stay.
Dallas. So this is going to one of our listeners. The cookbook is going to a listener, or if they get lucky, both. So obviously, you know, your involvement around town, you're obviously working with Creative Arts Studio.
Creative Art Studio.
You
That's
have-
where I usually. Right now, my show, Me MX, is at a Creative Art Studio.
Okay, so and that's where your work can be found. Can you purchase there?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so you can purchase your artwork
Yes.
there, and then can you purchase online, or do you have to? If
Yeah.
people wanted to commission a painting,
They can send me just an email.
Okay.
And they have all my information on that website, auroracabrera.com.
okay. So are you going to be doing any kind of involvement in the future that you know of? Any projects as of right now? You may not, and that's fine.
Not right now. I think I'm gonna do Day of the Dead. I had been doing it with a friend, and it's a
Nice.
lot of fun.
Our previous guest was also talking about that. So you guys,
It's a
if y'all
lot of
haven't gotten
fun.
involved with Day of the Dead here in Denton, hop on the bandwagon because it's a lot of fun.
It's growing.
It-
It makes me so excited because you cannot imagine what Day of the Dead is in Mexico.
Oh, one of
And,
these days I will be there.
But here, when I've been in Denton for a long time, on, off. So these days are exciting days because
Yes.
I see popping up all these things that we didn't have
No, we
20
didn't.
something years ago.
No, I think it's a way to bring light to culture, and I completely love the Day of the Dead and everything it represents. So, I love having it here. It makes me feel at home in a way,
Yeah.
so to speak, and I'm proud to have that here. So, let's go ahead and talk about. Thank you. Another sheet fell. I'm sorry, guys. So you are involved with the Visual Arts Society of Texas and the Denton. This one is not art related, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it because we do stuff here in Denton.
Yes.
It's not always art
Yes.
related. And it's the Denton Area Runners Club. And I'm going to,
Yes.
so you're part of that too. So
Yes,
you got to stay fit.
Well, my husband is the real runner, as I said. I'm just go along and help out.
You know what? But you're still doing it. So
But it's a great group, and he runs every Wednesday evening off Oak Street
I
Draft
saw
House.
them the other day.
And it's his social night, and after that he spends some time with friends, and it's just a great thing to have in
Yeah.
Denton. I mean,
You would think that in this heat you wouldn't have that many people running,
but
but
they
it's
are.
the other day I was doing
They
something around
are.
town and I was walking the sidewalk and this huge line of runners. I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna wait here. It's like a
Yeah.
train. I have to wait for the train to pass. So definitely. So this is really cool. You have your cookbook, you have the T-shirt, you have your art that you have hanging up, and you have the watercolors that you do commissions.
Yeah, I do commissions.
Okay.
I do commissions.
So definitely check her out, and we'll plug in her auroracabrera.com, AURORA Cabrera, CABRERA, .com, and then please check out her Instagram for
Wax text.
Waxtex, which is OAXTEX. That's her Instagram. But definitely, if you're looking for a nice vacation that's not so touristy in the sense of overcrowded, then definitely check out Las Bougainvilleas on Instagram. I know that now your son is taking care of all the social media, so he's getting to see a whole different side of the art, because I know he's doing
Yes.
photography there too. So that's amazing. So I do want to have one more question for you, and I did this last time, and I'm going to give you a Denton random question. So let's see what you tell us. And your random question is going to be, what is your favorite place to shop locally in Denton?
Oh, I have to pick on top of all of it something that is handcraft,
Yes.
because I'm making stuff and I really support everybody else that makes something.
Yeah, you have to support
So
the tribe.
I guess a creative art studio will be one. And
Definitely.
of course the dime store.
Yes.
And
They have the coolest stuff in each of them.
yes, and sleeping lizards. I've been there forever. So
Yeah, Sleeping Lizard has a lot of stuff that I have to be careful about. Oh, I like that. And pretty soon you have like a whole little basket of,
but things
goodies.
are changing, and now we have the farmers market.
yes.
We have the market, and you can find all kinds of stuff there. And they have some sales, and the sales are at the mall.
Yeah, they do.
For
They have
Christmas
work.
time.
Yes,
I
and
mean,
I've
it
been
is
to
great.
those,
It
and
is
they're a lot
great.
of fun to do because sometimes you don't want to run around the mall and
Yeah.
everything's right there. So it's very different, very unique gifts that mean something,
Yes.
and that you can kind of match to personalities that aren't so mainstream. So I think that's a lot of fun. So definitely, I would say Sleeping Lizards is one of my favorites as well. So I'm a jewelry addict, as you can tell probably from everything I have on. But thank you so much, Aurora, for being here with
Oh,
us
thank
today.
you.
I'm going to be looking forward to, or she will, giving away her prizes and her artwork, her cookbook. Thank you for sharing some of this amazing stuff with us. And, it was definitely a pleasure to have you on the show with us and sharing
you.
a part of who you were personally as well as artistically. So we look forward to all of that. And you guys out there, thank you for tuning in to the Denton Vibe with Diva Girl Ellie, and look forward to next week's show. I want to make sure that you guys tune in because we have so many artists that are going to be here. We've got them lined up, and I'm looking forward to meeting everyone and sharing the talents of all the art we have around here. And we have someone telling you, I love the showcase of local artists, beautiful pieces.
Oh,
Aurora, you
thank
have Sherry
you.
telling you that you have beautiful artwork. Thank you, Sherry. I know it means a lot to her being here and
Yes.
her first radio show appearance. So
Yes.
thank you for sharing it with us, and thank you, Denton. I hope you guys have a great evening out there. The square is actually, pretty busy today, as I saw earlier. So everybody getting a bite to eat and relaxing and winding down for the week. So thank you for joining the Denton Vibe with Diva Girl Ellie.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to check out DentonRadio.com to find new Denton artists and where they're playing next. While you're surfing the internet, make sure to check out our friends LSA Burger at LSAburger.com.